Hi, I'm Bonnie McKee, and you're listening to Main Pod Girl.
Hey, welcome to Main Pod Girl, a podcast made by Popheads for Popheads. Every episode we'll be diving into all kinds of pop culture topics with some of our favorite artists and music commentators. I'm your host, AJ Marks, and today's guest is a one-of-a-kind actress, artist, songwriter, record producer, film producer, and director, perhaps best known for shaping the sound of pop music as we know it today. Some of her writing credits include Teenage Dream, Last Friday Night, Dynamite by Tayo Cruz, California Girls, Part of Me, Wide Awake, How We Do, Party, Roar, Hold It Against Me. There are too many to name. She was literally my inspiration to become a songwriter, and I'm so excited to have her back on the podcast to talk about her upcoming album. It's the American girl herself, Bonnie McKee.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
It's always a mouthful having to go through all of your accomplishments because there's so many.
Oh, thank you.
Before we get into it all, I want to hear about your rose, thorn, and stem of the week. So the best part of the week, the worst part, and something that's just kind of notable or random or funny.
Okay, let's see. The worst part of the week was finishing the edit for the music video, working on it. It was such a clusterfuck. It was just 16-hour days of just me editing and being on my couch, sleeping on my couch, never leaving one spot. The best part was getting picture locked and sending that in.
Nice.
And yeah, that's pretty much just been my life for the past 10 days. So not much more to report there. Although, obviously Hot City coming out is a big deal, and that's been a lot of fun. I've waited so long to put this song out. I think it's one of my favorites from this album from the vault. It's very freeing. I feel like it's a resurrection of sorts.
Okay, let's dive right into the album. First of all, I want to say Hot City, maybe top 2 songs you've ever released.
Thank you.
Around this time last year when we recorded an episode together, you were leaning towards calling this album From the Vault or The Vault. Mm-hmm. From the Rolling Stone article, it sounds like you ended up on Hot City as the title.
Yeah. Once I started getting into, because I knew that Hot City was going to be a single. And so once I started getting into making mood boards and thinking about the video and all of that for Hot City, I was like, this is a whole world. And it really kind of encapsulates the whole spirit of the album and of this era, because it was just carefree summertime party vibes with sort of a little dark twist, So in my head, it's kind of like Vice City or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just so much of a visual story to tell when you can build a world like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I originally wanted to call it From the Vault or reference that because I didn't want people to think oh, this is new. This is my latest, greatest, whatever. I want people to know that this is old and that, I'm aware that it's dated and blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, nah, this album deserves to have a title of its own and not be something that I am ashamed of. I mean, because the fans know, if you know, you know that this is an album that was held hostage by the label for 10 years. And I ended up re-recording it and it's finally coming out. And the fact is 10 years later, when I was going on TikTok and socials and everything, and everyone was asking for these songs, that said something to me because I still felt really strongly about them. When I would listen to them, I'd be like, this is still good. I don't know. It doesn't sound dated to me. And, I updated them and stuff, but I feel like it deserved to have a life of its own and not be referenced as something that's oh, this is just something that I dug up from the past. No, this is an album that stands on its own.
I think especially the past year, pop music has really kind of shifted back into that maximalist sound in a lot of ways. And so I think that almost kind of serendipitous, it worked out for you because it doesn't sound dated.
Totally. And I think that honestly, if it had come out at the time when it was written, it was kind of the tail end of that sort of golden era of pop where everyone was sort of burnt out on it. And there's a lot of stuff that kind of sounded like that. And so it was already nostalgic to begin with. It was already referencing stuff from the 80s and my favorite era of pop. So now it's 2 times nostalgic, where it's the 80s influence, but it was written in the 2010s or whatever. So it's really harping back to a time where pop was sparkly and maximalist and big. And that's really my favorite kind of music, pop music.
It's where you thrive.
Yeah. And also I've never really been a trend follower. So when everyone was doing this kind of bedroom pop thing, I respect it. And there's been some incredible songs that have come out of it, but it's just not my cup of tea. And so I tend to lean towards more big produced, like I said, maximalist pop.
Also, with American Girl presumably absent from the track list, Hot City, does it feel like a new one song summary of the album to you?
I mean, American Girl was the beginning, was where this all began and what I kind of based all of the songs around. Yeah. And it would be so amazing for me to get the master back for American Girl. I think re-recording it would be a pain in the ass. I think that it's great how it is, but I don't know. I'm in talks to maybe try to get it put on the album, but that's, it's been such a legal nightmare dealing with the label and stuff. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would really like for it to.
I mean, it's out on streaming anyway, so I think that's a win in itself. It's just that it's still up.
Yeah.
You've done a great job, I think, so far of conceptualizing Hot City in the promo.
Thank you.
It's like your version of Chromatica or Planet Her. Can you walk me through a day in the life of a Hot City resident?
Let's see. Well, you'd wake up, you'd get glammed, have a Red Bull for breakfast. You'd lay in the sun, call your friends over, go for a drive, and end up at like an insane house party somewhere with a beautiful view and the best music ever and lots of hotties rubbing bodies, I'd say.
Honestly, through your music, it's hard to imagine that this isn't just your life. And I know you work extremely, extremely hard at what you do. And Doja Cat actually said it recently where she was saying that, yeah, I know that I seem like I'm always out there and I'm always doing things. And she's like, I don't go to parties. I don't socialize. I stay in and work on my craft.
Same.
It's like everyone gets to vicariously live through you through these songs, but you're also living vicariously through you through these songs. It's great.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when I write the songs and when I make the videos and stuff, I really imagine like the experience that the listener is having. And I want people to party to it. I want people to get hyped and fall in love to it and blast it when they're driving down the road. Like I'm providing an experience for people and that brings me a lot of joy and satisfaction. But yeah, my own life is really boring. I work constantly. I love what I do, but I'm such a perfectionist and I really take my work and my aesthetic and my world building and everything very seriously. And so that takes time. I've hired people, I've tried to delegate, and like at the end of the day, really, it has to have my hands on it or it's never quite what I want it to be, and that's exhausting. And I really do need to learn how to delegate properly because I'm just very controlling in that way.
No, I like it though. You have a vision, right? Like I feel like all my favorite songs of yours describe this sort of like romanticized modern version of the American dream, right? Even picking out American Dream, you have American Girl and Teenage Dream, but then you also have Hot City, Last Friday Night, Wasted Youth. And they all have me living vicariously through your vision for like 3 minutes at a time. So it's not surprising to me that Lana Del Rey told you that she was a big fan of yours, since that's kind of her thing too, but like in a very different way.
Yeah, no, I'm such a huge Lana fan, and she really like kind of materialized out of thin air in my life at a time when I really needed someone to encourage me, because my whole life I wanted to be Madonna. I wanted to be Britney. Like I wanted to be the biggest pop star in the world. And then I kind of witnessed that firsthand working with some of these big artists. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's really the life for me. And she was kind of like an example of the type of career that I'd like to have, where she's a tastemaker. She's highly respected. She tours. She has a huge fan base, but it's not like, I mean, I don't know what her day-to-day life is like, but it doesn't seem as scary as some of the other crazy, super mainstream stuff. And then I had just been like praying about it and doing my like witchy ceremonies and being like, like she was a vision that I had in my head of like, I want to be like that. I want that kind of career. And then she just showed up and was just like, you're awesome. Keep going. And I was like, thank you. Like, that's all I needed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it, because I had been kind of stalled for a while. I was like, who am I? What am I doing? And she really inspired me. So I have a lot of respect for her, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
She's kind of like a guardian angel.
I mean, that's really what it felt like.
What would a Lana collab sound like to you? Whether it's like you writing for her writing for you?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I would love to. I love her lyrics so much. I love her melodies. I love her voice. I think we could do something really fun and really kind of spooky and cool and romantic. I definitely have some songs that are like in the Lana lane. And it's really cool how she's kind of invented a genre in a way where it's sort of, when you say, oh, it sounds like Lana Del Rey, then people get it. It's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that sounds like. She has a very specific sound. So I think that's really cool.
Lana Lane needs to be a street on Hot City.
Absolutely, yes. And it is. There's definitely a couple songs that fall under that category that live on Lana Lane.
Okay, so I'm going to be totally honest. I'm morbidly curious about what's going in this track list, but I respect that you have a process and probably have a whole reveal planned for it. And by the sounds of it, you know, still debating on whether to put American Girl on.
Yeah.
So I'm only going to ask about one song.
Okay.
I have a lot of people wondering if Reckless is going to be on the final cut.
No. Reckless was not written for me necessarily.
Oh, okay.
Reckless was like a random day. And honestly, I don't know how these demos leaked, but like it really, I mean, I appreciate all the love, and I love that the fans are so curious and so hungry to know, and they want to hear more from me. And like, honestly, like their reactions to these leaked demos have really inspired me to keep going. So there's definitely a positive side to that, but it's like scary and it sucks when things leak because I'm just like, what else do you have?
Yeah.
It's also like, it's fucked up opportunities for me where like I have something that's written for another big pop star and then it leaks and then it doesn't have, like that literally costs me hundreds of thousands of dollars when that happens. So
yeah,
it sucks. But Restless was just like a random one. I don't know how that got out. I mean, I don't know. You know, I have a theory about who leaked a lot of these things that's like kind of a mole, kind of an insider person.
Oh shit.
And I'm trying to decide if I should confront that person and be like, what the fuck? Because there is someone in the industry. The co-writers also, nobody benefits from that.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone that has gone through the process of slaving over a song knows how disappointing it is when something leaks, especially before it's finished, where it's just like, oh, like this wasn't the vision. This isn't, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think it would be anybody that, it wouldn't be on the creative side. But I do think that there's an insider in the like publishing / sync world. Right. I see you.
How different is this track list from the one that you had 10 years ago?
It's pretty close, but I took some songs that were written before I was signed at Epic. I took some songs that were written after, and I kind of just curated an album that feels like it's all the same vibe, you know?
Yeah.
I was doing stuff like this long before I was signed, you know, blog house, electro pop stuff that I kind of came of age to in a way. So I have a mountain of stuff like that. And so I'm just picking all of the best ones, I think. And it's funny, the ones that the fans gravitate towards, like Restless, I'm just like, I don't love it.
Wasn't even intended.
No, like I wrote it, recorded it, and forgot about it. And I just never even thought about it again. I mean, it's not a bad song, but it was just, there wasn't like a whole lot of inspiration behind it. I was just like going through the motions of like, show up, write a song, do my job. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So reportedly, one of the upcoming tracks on the album, Everything But You, is getting a serious makeover.
Yes.
What was the inspiration to heavily update the song?
Well, I mean, I had to re-record stuff because Epic owned it. And so I re-recorded all of it, and I rewrote some of the lyrics because there were lyrics that I never really loved. And like the version that I toured with, like I was in the middle of making the album. So I like a lot of those songs, like the lyrics on Slay changed and the lyrics on Everything But You changed. And, you know, there were some things that I was just like, I'm not done yet, but like they're close enough to go and play live. So I just want to go try them out. It's also nice to be able to test songs on an audience and see what people react to. So yeah, I finally got that song to a place where I feel really good about it. And it's the lyric that I want it to be.
Okay. So it's mostly like lyric updates.
Yeah. And also reproduction, but it's the same vibe. I tried to make it sound like as close to the original as possible, but it's just like, it's a little more cleaned up and streamlined.
Perfect. All right. Let's try out a brand new game designed just for this episode. It's called Song Interrogation, and I promise it's not as scary as it sounds.
Okay.
There are lots of rumored song titles floating around about this album, and I'm just going to use a bunch of them as jumping off points for some silly rapid fire questions. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You have a song called Forever 21. When was the last time you shopped at Forever 21?
Oh my God. Not that long ago, because it's good for like when you have to dress dancers, like there's cheap, cute stuff. So I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so.
Okay.
Online. I don't think I've stepped foot into an actual Forever 21 store in a long time, but you never know what you're going to find.
It's true. Okay. You have a song called Hit Me Up. So if someone was going to hit you up in a sexy way, which unsexy app would you refer it to be on?
Oh my God.
Facebook, LinkedIn, or Pinterest?
Oh my God. First of all, I don't even have a LinkedIn. I don't even know how that works. That's some like corporate shit that I don't understand. Facebook, I can't even log into my Facebook. You know why? I had like a fake one that I made just for like friends and family or whatever. So I used a weird name, and then it was like, you've been reported that like, this isn't your real name, and we need a picture of your photo ID. We need to like a government ID. And I was like, excuse me, like, what if I was born Bonnie, but I want to be Bob? Like, fuck you. Like, I'm not going to give you my ID. Like, this is the name that I want to use. Fuck off.
Also, who reported you?
I don't know.
Who's like, I don't like that she's having any fun.
Probably someone from high school or something, you know, someone from my deep, deep past. It's like, that's not your name.
Or your like name was in their contacts and the Facebook's synced up to,
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just like, whatever. So Pinterest, I mean, like, I don't think of Pinterest as even like a social thing. It's just like for mood boards.
Yeah. I had to Google it to see like if you could DM on Pinterest because I do not have an account.
Like, can you? Can you DM on Pinterest? Wow. I spend more time on Pinterest than I spend on Facebook or LinkedIn. So I guess Pinterest would be my answer.
So someone's going to be like, hey, Bonnie, you would rather it be on Pinterest.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so you have a song called Jenny's Got a Boyfriend. Is Jenny still with that boyfriend?
Yes, they just got married.
No way. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you got to change it to Jenny's Got a Husband.
Jenny's Got a Boyfriend is about my friend has a husband now, a boyfriend who was like extremely hot, and he knew it. And me and my circle of girlfriends that were all friends with them, he was such a flirt. Oh my God. He was the word. He would just give you eyes, and he was just very flirtatious. And I remember like saying to my friends, I was like, I don't know. I think he's like kind of giving me a vibe. And she's like, no, I think he is into me. And I was like, oh, he's doing this to all of us. And so I wrote a song about it because, I mean, nobody ever acted on it. And like, there was no intention to steal him, but it's just like, come on now. Like a girl can dream, you know?
That's hilarious. There are just some people who are very flirtatious. Like that's just their way of operating, which I respect.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as you're not like sneaking around and whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a song called Outlaw. What's one law that you would break if you knew you would never get caught?
Oh, wow. I would probably want to like steal an amazing song and claim it as my own.
Oh, actually, wait. Funny enough, Bury a Friend and All Star are now credited to you on Spotify.
What?
If you go on like Written by Bonnie McKee, that playlist, there's a second and third song on that playlist.
Wait, which two songs?
Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish and All Star by Smash Mouth.
I don't know why that is. That's amazing, first of all. Like, yes, I will totally take the credit for those. I mean, All Star was written when I was in, 7th grade or something. So I definitely did not have a hand in that. But that's like an amazing, somebody's up to something and I'm loving it. So great, I'll take it.
To something. Okay, you have a song called Don't Get Mad, Get Famous. Mm-hmm. I don't have a question for this song. I just think the title's fucking awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You have a song called Risky Business. What's the biggest risk you've taken in the past year?
Okay, I've seen the fans talking about Risky Business. I have no idea what that is. Like, it sounds like something I probably wrote, but it's like another one of those random demos that I set it and forget it, where I just like wrote it and was like, bye, like just showing up for work. I have no idea what song that is. It rings a bell, but like I couldn't sing it back to you. I'm sure if I heard it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Because some of these songs that the fans are asking about, I'm like, what? And then I'll like dig around in my songs and be like, I don't even have the demo for that. And somehow y'all do. So
what's the biggest risk you've taken in the past year? Basically, since the last time we did the podcast.
I mean, I think the biggest risk I've taken is putting out Slay and just going for it. You know, I mean, legally I'm allowed to because I re-recorded it and whatever, but it's also a risk just like trying to come back after not putting anything out since however long, 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a gamble and I'm spending my own money. I don't have any funding. I'm doing everything myself. And it's like a lot of time and effort and my own money to gamble. But, I gambled when I put out Bombastic and I won. So I'm just like betting on myself again. And that's always a risk because at the end of the day, like if it doesn't do anything, if it doesn't, I don't have super high expectations. It's really just about me being able to look at what I've released and be really proud of it. And have all of this art that I created and be like, look what I made, because it just breaks my heart for it to sit and collect dust on the hard drive,
I'm so glad that you're releasing all these songs.
Thank you.
I have one last one. You have a song called Somebody's Gonna Get Hurt. The last time somebody got hurt, did you hurt the somebody or did the somebody hurt you?
Somebody hurt me. Somebody hurt me bad.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. The next album, there's a whole other album, by the way. The next album is all about that. So look out.
Somebody's going to get hurt on that album too. And then just going back into some of the questions, I wanted to know if you found the process of re-recording the album challenging, cathartic, monotonous, scary.
It was scary. It was challenging. It was a lot of work. Anyone can tell you that like revisiting an old song and trying to like reproduce something is way harder than just writing something new.
Yeah.
And it was cathartic in a way where I was just like, oh yeah, these are great. And then when I started playing them for people, like I got a new manager and I got, just like for my team, people are like, oh, this is amazing. Like this slaps, like people that hadn't heard it before. And I was like, okay, like I just, it was like a little boost of confidence along the way. But I think that it was also heartbreaking in a way because I'm like, damn, these are so good. And like, they should have had a life. Like they should have had a major label backing it. I should have had the kind of budget that the other stuff that I did got. And so I'm sad that it's not going to have the kind of life that it could have had if I had access to radio and access to, like playing Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. Like I don't have those resources anymore. But I have to kind of just accept that and be happy that it's coming out at all. And I am. But I think there was definitely some heartbreak there of just being like, I know these are so good and they could have been like classics. But, there's still time. I mean, also the beautiful thing about TikTok is that things can get rediscovered later. So like if it doesn't make a splash the first day it comes out or the first year even, it can still have a life later.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at Lizzo, right?
I mean, exactly. Like she's a great example. Exactly.
Happened twice for her.
Yeah.
And then it's really just like, if it doesn't do the best first day numbers, that is actually not at all indicative of its life.
Yeah. And it used to be like, if you put out a song and there's no numbers the first week, even the first weekend, then it's dead. And the label's like, fuck off and moves on. And that's so heartbreaking. Oh my God. I felt the same way about American Girl. American Girl was like almost. And they were like, like it dipped a little bit. So we're moving on. And I was just like, we started a fire. Like, what are you doing? So, I mean, that was like the biggest frustration for me and why ultimately I ended up leaving the label. Cause I was just like, I can't, this is too heartbreaking. Yeah. I'm working too hard and I'm making great shit. And I don't want someone else to decide when something's dead or not. If I want to keep pushing it, I'm going to keep pushing it. It's weird because like I have been in the label system calendar for so long where it's like, okay, you put out a song and then you go until it slows down. And then, and so like kind of wrapping my head around like how time is no longer an issue with that. It has been sort of a challenge. And so I've been, I put out Hot City, I think 6 weeks after Slay. And it's been a really intense, brutal turnaround because it's like the content creation is so intense and it feels rushed where I'm just like, wait, no, Slay like hasn't had its moment yet. But I have to just remember that it's like, it's important to just put it out and like people will discover it. And once the strike is over, there will be syncs. There will be other opportunities. The strike is definitely affecting people like me as well, because I heavily rely on syncs. Like that's where the real money comes from to like pay myself back for the money that I've invested. So not having opportunities for syncs has been scary, but I know it'll come around. It's fine. And also Bombastic just got another sync earlier this year after 7 years or whatever. So
love that. What's been your favorite moment of the rollout so far?
Honestly, the day that Slay came out, I was so emotional. Like I did a live stream the night before when it first went live and I got to talk to all of the fans and I got to share this moment. And I was just like crying all day, like tears of joy. And my best friend gave me this necklace that's like a little sword. And my friend like made me lunch and I was just like, thank you. Like it was just so much goodwill. And, after really kind of being invisible for a long time, I don't know. It felt really nice to feel appreciated. And after working so hard to see people react to it and like support me, that really means so, so much to me.
What part are you looking forward to most coming up?
I mean, I'm playing a show in Minneapolis for the baseball tournament. It's an LGBTQ thing, and I'm headlining, and it's going to be a pretty big show. I did like a pop-up show in LA a week ago or whatever, and it was just like kind of a small getting my feet wet again. But I am really excited to get back on stage, and I would love to do a tour.
I know you have PTSD from touring these songs last time. So.
I mean, I love it. I had so much fun on tour despite everything terrible that was happening.
Yeah.
I was just like, I had an all-girl band. We had so much fun. It was like a slumber party every night. And like, I love meeting the fans. I mean, the fans are really why I do this, like hearing people's stories and getting to meet them face to face and hearing them sing along. Like that is so powerful. And like, I forget because I've spent so many years just in the studio. I forget that like, that's why I do this. Like that's like, and seeing that and sharing that experience with an audience is something that you can't really get anywhere else. Like it's a bonding experience, you know?
So one of my favorite games on this podcast is called Call DM Block. But for this episode only, it's going to be called I Want to Fucking Call DM Block You.
Okay.
As a reference to one of the songs. I'm going to give you 3 celebrities, and you're going to have to hypothetically call one, DM one, and block one.
Okay.
Today's theme will be people from Seattle.
Okay.
First up, it's the star of many scary movies. She's a hot chick, a mom, and a house bunny. She's Anna Faris. Next, we have one of the best-selling artists of all time, known by Gen X for his smooth jazz and by Gen Z as Kathy Beth Terry's uncle. It's Kenny G. Finally, we have our last contestant, a billionaire known for being the richest person in the world. It's Bill Gates. Mm-hmm. So Anna Faris, Kenny G, Bill Gates, call DM block.
I would call Anna Faris because she seems like a good time. I would DM Kenny G because I'm trying to slide in those daddy DMs.
Would you be like, hey, you know, I wrote the song that you were in the music video for?
And I would block Bill Gates.
All right, let's block Bill Gates. Closing the gates to Bill Gates. And now we've come to the last part of the show, our top 5. So this is where we list our top 5 of a certain category. And for this episode, Bonnie and I actually prepared 3 lists, all themed around her upcoming album, Hot City. So Bonnie, which one do you want to go with first?
Okay, well, I had a really hard time. So there's 3 different ones, like you said. I had a really hard time narrowing these down because like I have so many opinions. Every time someone's like, "What's your favorite fill in the blank?" I'm like, because
you did such a great job, though.
I'm just like,
I sent you like 3 kind of options, and most people they're just like, "Yeah, I don't like any of those options," or "I guess maybe this one." So I get kind of nervous. But then you were like, "Yeah, I've done all 3," and I was like, "Wait, what?"
They were great. You have great options.
Oh, perfect!
Okay.
I'm really glad.
Okay, so top 5 songs with heat, fire, burning, etc. Burning Up for Your Love, Madonna.
Nice.
Firestarter, Prodigy. Disco Inferno, The Tramps. Hot in Her, Nelly. And Through the Fire, Chaka Khan.
Nice. Hot in Her almost made my list too. My number 5 is Sean Kingston, Fire Burning. Right? Because they got fire and you got burning. 4 is Hilary Duff, Play with Fire.
Yes.
3 is Chapel Roan, Hot to Go, which came out the same day as Hot City. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Hot Girl Day. 2 is Caroline Polachek, So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings. And 1 is A Beer, Inferno. And if you have not heard that song, it's like a mix between Shakira and Sia.
Ooh.
But she's like making Arab pop. It's incredible because she's from Morocco. She's incredible.
Oh, sick. I'll check that out.
Those are my top 5 hot songs. Obviously, we didn't include Hot City because, you know, avoiding bias.
That's a given. That's a given.
Next up, maybe top 5 songs from 2013.
Yes. Okay.
Not
top 5
including
songs.
the Bonnie songs.
Right. So my top 5 are Summertime Sadness, the remix,
Right.
Lana Del Rey, Get Lucky, Daft Punk, and Pharrell. Diamonds, Rihanna.
Oh,
so good.
Brilliant.
Work Bitch, Britney Spears, and Applause, Lady Gaga.
Oh, nice. Yeah, love Lady Gaga.
I loved Applause. That came out when I was doing American Girl promo and everything. So it was everywhere. Every radio station I went to, they were talking about it, whatever. And I feel like it wasn't like as well received when it first came out. And I was like, y'all are tripping because this song is amazing. Like I love, love, love it. I love that whole album. And actually I had tweeted about it or something back when Twitter was a thing. And I was just like, I love this song. And then she tweeted back at me and was like, love to see you do your thing. And I was like, oh my gosh,
the girlies are supporting the girlies. I love it. Okay, my top 5. All right, number 5, Carmen a cappella.
Yes.
Maybe my favorite Carmen song. It's just so like camp. It's like on the nose. It's, you know, tongue in cheek.
It's a good one.
4 is will.i.am, Miley Cyrus, Wiz Khalifa, and Juicy J. That's Feeling Myself. I think DJ Mustard's maybe also on that too. Number 3, Avril Lavigne, Here's to Never Growing Up.
Oh, yeah.
This is a song that, like, you can't tell me this wasn't inspired by Bonnie McKee. Your version of writing. I'm like, it is canonically a Bonnie McKee song to me.
Thank you.
Number 2, Ariana Grande, Baby I. I think still one of her best songs. And then number 1 is maybe controversial, but Lily Allen, Hard Out Here.
I love Lily Allen.
It was just so biting, and the production was great because she had never really done straight up pop before then, but that was like her coming in just like swinging. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I love Lily Allen. She's such a brilliant lyricist and just like a great personality and beautiful voice. And when she first came out, I was like, this is so cool. Like, she was definitely a big influence for me. There was like a whole batch of songs that I did before I got a publishing deal, and she was definitely a reference for me, where I was like, I love this combination of kind of like throwback stuff and like modern pop with storytelling lyrics and really kind of satirical, biting, funny lyrics. I think she's just absolutely brilliant. I love her.
And then let's end on our top 5 artist comebacks.
Okay. Let's see. Dr. Dre, Still Dre.
Nice.
So good. Jonas Brothers, Sucker.
Right.
I feel like that.
I didn't even think about that.
When they came back with that, which, by the way, I don't know if you know the story of the Jonas Brothers breaking up the day before I was supposed to open for them on tour.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was I had done like months of rehearsals. I had t-shirts made, whole thing. And we had shipped all of our stuff out to Phoenix where the tour started. And then the day before, they were like, just kidding, we're breaking up. And I was like, what? Like,
but
that kind
brothers.
of like, yeah, I was like, huh? And that kind of like derailed the whole American Girl thing. So like,
right.
Jonas Brothers, if you listen, and I love you, I know them, they're very sweet and they're very talented, but y'all owe me a tour. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you should have been on the Sucker tour.
I mean, you know, there's still time. There's more coming out. Okay, so Dr. Dre, Jonas Brothers, Kylie Minogue, Can't Get You Out of My Head. She did the Locomotion in the 80s and then like was a soap star and like did her whole thing. And then when she came out with Can't Get You Out of My Head, that was a comeback. A lot of people don't know that.
And she just had another one with Padam Padam.
I mean, yeah, amazing.
Just keeps coming back.
Yeah, keeps reinventing herself. I got to write with her a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
I have a few songs that I did with her singing on it. And I'm just like, oh, these are so good, but they'll never see the light of day. Rebecca Black.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and say, like, talk about a comeback. Like, she really took all of the terrible shit that happened to her and spun it into gold. She's really talented and she's really like a tastemaker, and she's cool and she's smart and she's self-aware. And I have a lot of respect for her coming back from that. And she owns it. And when she plays shows, she plays Friday. And it's like, fuck yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, what an insane, like, bullying experience she must have had. Like, that must have been so traumatic. So I love that she spun that into gold. And then number 1 comeback would be Cher. I would say Cher coming out with Believe in the 90s or the 2000s, whenever that came out. Like, the fact that she still was killing it and came back, and she was the first one to openly use auto-tune, and that changed pop music. Like, still, like, so late in her career, she was like, let me just come back and like change everything for y'all. Like, let me show you how it's done. So big ups to Cher.
In my mind, the 3 inflection points for auto-tune were like Cher in 98, and then I think T-Pain in 2006, 2005 maybe, and then Kesha in 2010. I think those were the 3 kind of like inches towards how we use it now, and I just think all of them are brilliant.
Did you see that there was some TV show about the stories behind songs or whatever, and T-Pain was talking about how Usher like sent him into a depression because he told him that he ruined music with autotune, and I was like, yes, that's so fucked up. Meanwhile, T-Pain can sing. I think he won the Masked Singer or something.
Yeah.
Like, he's an amazing singer and songwriter. Also,
what's OMG by Usher with will.i.am? Like, what? Sorry, is that no autotune, Usher?
I know. Also, that is a banger.
That is a real banger. I love that song. All right. And so that's your top 5.
Yeah, that's my top 5 comebacks.
Top 5 comebacks. All right. Number 5, Miley Cyrus, Flowers in 2023. This was a big commercial comeback. She didn't like go anywhere really. But honestly, I want to attribute this comeback to the insane success of Plastic Hearts. Like we were talking about earlier, like songs just like picking up later, like Angels Like You was a huge hit in Asian countries this year. And I think that she just kind of built all that goodwill over the years. And then by the time she released Flowers, it didn't matter what song came out, it was just going to blow up.
Mm-hmm. But also Flowers is a fantastic song.
Oh, perfectly written.
It's one of the best songs that I've heard come out in years. It's been fantastic.
So I think she just like had a total knockout there. My number 4, it's kind of a comeback. It's ABBA with Mamma Mia in 2008. They weren't actually part of this comeback, but everyone just went from like forgetting about them to being like, okay, ABBA is like a staple for every generation now. Like it's just absolutely a staple.
Totally, yeah.
My number 3 is going to be Fergie with MILF Money in 2016. This is also kind of like a technicality because she made an album like 2006 and then went away to do like the biggest songs of her entire career with the Black Eyed Peas and then come back. But I think MILF Money was just a moment where I was like, the budget was budgeting, the outfits, the looks, everything. I was just like, this is just insane.
Yeah, killed it. Yeah.
My number 2 is Kesha with Praying in 2017. Again, this was like not an unusual amount of time between albums, like 5-ish years, but I think just the context around it, I think was really huge, and the shift in like her artistry. And I just think this was like a slam dunk. This song was just perfect in addressing everything and being very tasteful with everything.
Yeah, for sure. Praying was, oh man, what a song. And I think that Kesha also, I mean, first of all, she's a genius. She's a genius songwriter and singer and performer and world builder. Like she's really, really good at that. She's a full on artist. And like, I think when she first came out, everyone wanted to hate on her and she got a lot of hate in the press and whatever. But those songs stood the test of time. So like, who's laughing now?
Truly.
And then when she came out with Praying, it was just like, oh shit, this girl can sing. And I think people really kind of underestimated her vocal ability and her, I think she came up in Nashville, like she knows how to write a lyric. And like, that's what made her a great rapper too. Like you have to be a lyricist to know how to rap, Yeah. And so applying that to like a classic song like that was a really brilliant move. She's incredible.
Kudos to Kesha. We love Kesha. And I'm so glad the whole world does now too. Like the whole world kind of sees her and respects her in the way that she deserves, which is just
definitely,
so deserved, so overdue. And then number 1 is Lady Gaga, A Star Is Born in 2018.
Yes.
And again, like, it's like the difference, like she's still a huge star, but I think A Star Is Born giving her 2 of the biggest hits of her career, one which isn't even a single and now has 1 billion streams, Always Remember Us This Way. Like, that is insane. I think it's the most streamed non-single in Spotify history.
Wow, really? Amazing. Yeah, no, she's incredible.
That has to be a number 1 comeback. I'm like, what a way to come back, what an act change. So thank you so much, Bonnie, for joining me on this podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to Noah for the theme music. Make sure to rate and review this podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to right now. And we'll see you next time. Adios.